Hello everybody, it is Jaxon Piercy here. So I'm sorry for the delay of this video. I ran out of time yesterday to do it. That's what I scheduled it to be, but anywho, so I first off want to talk about Alexandre Boulerice. He's an independent. Why, I don't know. If it's an issue with Avilus's leadership, I don't think so. But, yeah, he's resigning in a few months anyways, but he decided to become an independent. So I don't know about that, but I'm just letting you guys know, just in case you never heard of the news. So, there's only 5 NDP MPs left, so they could have a caucus meeting in my old Jetta car. Literally. Not even joking, so that just shows how big their caucus is. Wolf obviously must be in the meetings. They have to go in an SUV, but still, I mean. Anywho, guys. Anywho. At least, it's not Elizabeth May. Literally, just all by herself, but anywho. Also, Jonathan Wilkinson announced he's stepping down at the end of June. The other day, 2 or 3 days ago. Why? Because he got an appointment to an EU job or something. Sorry guys, I got the hiccups. So, he'll be leaving at the end of June. Then, the nomination meeting for Scarborough Southwest provincial by-election for the Liberals is on May 9th, which Nate Scott Smith is seeking, so by May 9th, or probably, once the by-election's called, what Doug calls it, he'll resign his seat at Beaches, East York. He's most likely going to win the nomination, guys. But anywho, so, by-elections after by-elections. Then, I heard some swirling rumors that Sean Fraser might even resign to run for the Nova Scotia Liberal leadership. I hope so, because, just in case you guys don't know, last election, we gained a lot of conservative support in Atlantic Canada. Yes, South Shore St. Margaret's and Acadianapolis and Clover Lake Colchester gained Liberal support. But Conservatives pulled off Acadianapolis last time, but crisscrossed the floor. But, anywho, I think those seats could go back to the Conservatives if there was an election today. Despite Liberals up at the polls, they're not doing too great in Atlantic Canada. Well, not in NL. A lot of parts of Atlantic Canada, they're doing great, but not in NL. And not in some parts of Nova Scotia. They could actually be defeated in Central Nova in a by-election because... yeah, and there was a big swing of Conservative support there last time. Now, Jonathan Wilkinson's district, Vancouver, North-Capilano, that Liberals could probably hold on to it, but it is like an extreme Liberal seat. The Conservatives had it before 2015. But anywho, I want to show you guys what... let's find... okay, guys, so here's Jonathan Wilkinson's thing. His, whatever you call it. His, his statement, basically. Anywho.
These 3 foods make your neuropathy worse. If your feet are tingling, burning, or numb, stop.
There are many things that
sorry, guys, I never had this organized.
Wilkinson and I have in common. One of them
so this is Gilville. So, is Wilkinson in it? Yes, he is. So, this is climate radical Stephen Gilville. Also, Wilkinson was a climate radical too. But anywho.
We've both decided to come into politics because of the fight against climate change.
Jonathan is one of the brightest minds I've worked with, cares about Canada, and this is the next step in an amazing career.
Well, I hope he discovers that there's a business case for Canadian oil and gas when he's over in Europe during this energy crisis that we're all...
Now, I'm not sure which MP that is. It's a Conservative MP. I think it could be Jaxon. who's the MP in Manitoba, but I'm not for sure.
Going through.
I think it's really telling that the climate champions in the Liberal cabinet and the Liberal caucus have been systematically fleeing the ship.
Yeah, so that's obviously radical, Avi Lewis.
Reaction on Parliament Hill today to news of a long-time Liberal MP's upcoming departure from caucus. BC Liberal MP Jonathan Wilkinson, who previously served as both Environment Minister and Energy Minister in former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's cabinet, will soon be leaving federal politics to become Canada's ambassador to the European Union. Hi, Mr. Wilkinson. Good to see you, and congratulations on your new appointment.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you making the time. Look, there have been, and you would know, there has been speculation about this for, I would say, 5 or 6 months. What took so long to seal the deal?
Well, I would say part of it was a conversation, part of it was just mechanics. The Prime Minister asked me to do this some time ago, and we've been having a conversation. I would say it's not a simple thing to decide to leave your country and to go somewhere else. I would say
pretty easy for the Liberals. Yeah, we're supposed to be Canada strat, elbows up, but the Liberals who barely even stay in Canada.
That I've ever aspired to be an ambassador, and so it took me a while to sort of think my way through it. And I came to the conclusion largely because I actually think the European Union job is actually a really important job for Canada right now, and a substantive one. But there's also the mechanics. Like with the European Union, you have to actually get effectively approval of all 27 nations. It's different from any other ambassadorship. So,
okay. And I have more to ask about Europe in particular in a moment. There is some opposition reaction today, essentially on the cost and the prospect of another by-election, the politics around it. So I thought I would ask you bluntly to kind of get it on the record. Was any of this delayed in order to protect a majority?
No, I mean...
they might therefore lose their majority. Now, Liberals will probably retain the seat, but it's always a possibility, you don't know.
Was never part of the conversation. Obviously the House Leader and...
All I got to say is I pray the Conservatives could win it. Obviously, it's a Liberal area at this point, so probably not, but we'll be hopeful.
And those folks have to be thoughtful about how they're actually managing the agenda through the House. But the discussion that I've been having with the Prime Minister and the mechanics of getting approval from the European Union actually had nothing to do with the by-election.
And what about you staying in your seat, I think, until the House rises, or at least for the time being? Is that about protecting the majority?
Well, I think it probably in part it's important to have the votes in the House, but it's also, I wanted to see through to the end of this.
Yeah, Buddy rarely even shows up to the House of Commons. He mainly just votes online. So, he could just be, you could basically be home, in bed, relaxing, and you could essentially just vote. No. There's many MPs that are actually doing it. So basically, you could just sit there, vote on something at your house, and yet you get paid $200,000. But anywho.
Into the session, largely for my constituents. I made a commitment to my constituents when I ran a little over a year ago, and I'd like to see it through till the end of the session at a minimum. So,
okay, on Europe, obviously you're just starting, so you haven't gone there, you haven't represented Canada yet. But there's a lot of talk. I interviewed the president of Finland, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, about his enthusiasm for Canada joining Europe. And I know it's sort of tongue in cheek in a way, but it speaks to this idea that many Canadians might feel more aligned at this point in time with our European allies than our traditional ally in the United States. What do you make of the prospect, to put it bluntly, of, and not to say it's reality for everyone watching, but the prospect of that proposition?
So, look, I think there's a lot we can do to deepen the relationship with Europe and with the European Union. I think right now...
Now they also have a Conservative candidate in the district. They nominated him a couple weeks ago before even Wilkinson announced for the 2029 election, but he'll also be running now in the by-election, I guess, so they have a candidate lined up, Stephen Curran. He ran in the last election.
Right now, we punch below our weight in terms of trade. I think there's a lot more we can do there. Certainly defense and security, there's a lot of common ground, particularly as it relates to the Arctic. And so I do think there are ways in which we can move closer together. I think the idea of actually effectively joining the European Union is a long way off. I mean, you have to effectively sacrifice a lot of your sovereignty if you're going to do that and join a supranational organization. We also geographically are a long way away. But I do think there are some things that we could look at in terms of how do we actually bring Canada closer. And there are countries even in Europe that are not members of the European Union but actually benefit from a much closer association, like Switzerland or Norway.
To be blunt, is joining the EU a non-starter?
Well, I mean, look, that's a decision for the Prime Minister. But I would say...
Anyways, guys, so that's well enough for that one. Now I'm going to bring up Alexandre Boulerice in his interview. Boulerice. Sorry, guys, I'm not prepared at all today, but I'm never prepared, guys.
As long as
Life
I'm
with
living,
ADHD.
I'm diving.
Anyhow, freaking ads all the time, guys.
Not boring.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys, but...
There's Melanie Paradis. Now, this isn't a complete shock. He's already previously signaled his interest in provincial politics, but this is another gut
This is a
punch to
front
the already
bench. Who cares?
fragile
We'll watch
party.
this.
NDP only has 6 seats in the House of Commons right now, and with Boulerice's departure,
Yeah, but he's
that'll
an
bring them down to
independent
5.
now,
So what does this all mean for the New Democrats?
Until he
Let's bring in
resigns.
our front bench. Sabrina Grover.
Not so, he's also a separatist, so that could perhaps be it. He admitted 3 days after he left the NDP that he's a separatist of Quebec. He's ready for the separatist Quebec Solidaire in the riding of Golin. But anywho.
Was a federal Liberal candidate in the 2021 election. She's a senior advisor at North Star Public Affairs. Melanie Paradis is a former communications director to Aaron O'Toole. She's now the president of Texture Communications. Former interim NDP national director Carl Belanger also here. He's now the president of Traction Strategies. And CTV News national correspondent Rachel Ayala with us as well. Carl, we're going to start off with you. What does this do to the federal party?
Well, it's a blow. It's a huge blow. In fact, it could spell the end of the orange wave that happened under Jack Layton in 2011. He's the sole MP left from that era.
Yeah, because believe it or not, in 2011, NDPs won the province of Quebec. And now they have no seats. Alexandre Boulerice was the last remaining, but he's now independent until he resigns in a few months.
And it will be very difficult for the NDP to keep this seat, but not impossible, and for the following reason. This is a seat where municipally they vote for left-wing Projet Montréal, provincially they vote for Québec Solidaire, so it's not impossible that federally they keep voting left and stick with the NDP, but for that to happen, Avi Lewis will have to recruit somebody with a big name, a big following, a big media profile. You can't just run somebody that's been running for the NDP in adjacent ridings for years. You need to find a true star that can carry some weight in the riding if you want.
Oh my god, guys. This was 8 days ago. When you look at that, I already played this one. I thought this was about him being an independent. Guys, I'm very unprepared today. Jesus. Anywho.
The NDP's last member
Let's just
finally sealed the decision for you to make this jump to Quebec Solidaire. And 5 wins at the elections. I was ready to Quebec Solidaire.
Let's see.
I think that after 15 years, at the federal level and 5 wins at the elections, I was ready to go to other challenges and maybe another career. It was not sure at the beginning it's going to be provincial politics with Québec Solidaire, but after a number of discussions with Rouba Gazal, the female spokesperson for the party, it was
so that party, basically, they need a certain amount of women and non-binary candidates for some reason. Yeah, like the federal NDP needs to be half and half. But they broke a rule so he could run in.
Like
they voted in one of their conventions, which is nuts why they would do that. But anyhow.
At my place, I'm going to continue.
By the way, guys, it's nuts why they would do those policies, like those woke policies. Obviously, it's not notice that they made an exception. It shouldn't even be a thing anyways, but anywho.
You know, the fights for working class, I'm going to continue to fight against poverty and inequalities, but at a different level now.
Avi Lewis said that he and every other member of the caucus and other members of the party tried to convince you to stay with the federal NDP. Why weren't they able to change your mind?
You know, the fact that I was going to leave federal politics was already there way before the election of Avi Lewis, so it's not a judgment on him or his leadership. I think he's great with a great vision for the left.
Well, why did you leave the party then? This is what I'm generally confused about, guys. Like, why would he need to leave the party, you know? Though he is ready for a far-left provincial party, so... It is like, oh, the party went too far left. No, so I have to resign. I don't want to cross the floor, you know, but anyhow.
In the progressive people in this country, but for me, it was time to change. And you know, the fact that I can continue to represent the people of the riding at the federal level now at the provincial level, it was something important to me because I want to continue to work with them. But
now, anywho, guys, so I just want to show you a bit of it. I'm not going to watch all of it, but anywho, guys, I'm going to wrap up this video now. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Also, guys, I'm 2 away from 50 subs, so I would kindly appreciate if you guys do sub and like the videos or comment for questions. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have a great day. Bye.